If your life crosses borders, your health cover should too. Today I'm going to explain what international private medical insurance is, who actually need it, what it really covers, how to design it properly, what it tends to cost, and the usual mistakes that people make which lead to huge overpayments on these policies and how to avoid it. If you travel frequently, have a holiday home abroad, or simply prefer to have a private medical insurance that is easy to use and with way less limitations than a pile of paperwork, then this video is for you. Let's start with a simple truth. Any domestic private medical insurance is really good, but only inside of one country. But the moment you step outside the border, you are in effect become self-pay for any medical expenses. And one emergency room visit overseas can run into thousands. You know, a short hospital stay, diagnostics or minor surgery can become a serious financial hit. And that's before you even think about language barriers, authorizations and the paperwork. Global medical insurance, or IPMI, follows you wherever you're eligible to be treated, so that a problem away from home doesn't turn into a logistical or financial nightmare. So who is this policy actually for? I would say there are three groups of people who tend to buy these policies from us the most. Group one is the frequent flyers. Take me as an example. Last year I went away 13 times, this year so far 11, and I've got a few more trips that I already booked. Half of them are for the business, the other half is for leisure, so I do spend a lot of time abroad. And if you're a consultant, executive or a business owner or anyone who can be in 3 countries in 1 quarter, you definitely need to consider IPMI. Second group is students and younger professionals on international tracks. If you send your child to study in the UK or vice versa away from the UK, can you actually rely on the local national health services? Do you even know how it works? Have you already decided what you're going to do when you get a call from your little one during the night crying and begging for help because of the severe pain in the stomach? Look, I know that youngsters are much healthier and the chances of them being ill is small, but it reflects in the price too. So as a parent, you actually buying a peace of mind that if something goes wrong, your child can get a proper treatment in a private facility that are most of the time way better than any national clinic. Group 3 is the people in the UK who already have a domestic policy with the likes of AXA, Bupa, Avio, Vitality and the others. These people most likely tried several insurers in the past and realized that pretty much all of them are working in the same way, but they want to get that next step upgrade and happy to pay for it extra. Under the next step upgrade, I mean, not being limited in where you can or cannot receive the treatment, use private GPs instead of the ones from the NHS. Have an ability to go directly to a private specialist without the need for the referral, and also have a decent service in general, you know, without these usual half-an-hour wait times on the call when you need something. Now let's look at what does IPMI cover include. This is where there is a lot of similarities with domestic plans, at least on the first glance. First is inpatient. That will be your admissions, surgery, scans and specialist care when you need a hospital bed in a private facility. Second is outpatient. That's your consultations, diagnostics, physiotherapy, you know, the stuff that keeps you away from the operating theatre and gets you better fast. Third is the cancer care. Unlike domestic plans, IPMI gives you an ability to receive treatments from best specialists in the world and not just from your own town or country. Fourth is extras that often matters more than you think. Things like evacuation or repatriation, maternity and newborn cover, mental health, dental, health checks. The point is not to chase every benefit, but it's to have the right mix for your actual lifestyle. Now let's move to the pricing. The number everyone asks about and the area most abused by oversimplified answers. Premiums are primarily driven by age, the region of cover, whether it's Europe only, worldwide excluding or including USA, level of outpatient benefits, and your excesses or copay, whichever way you want to call it. Just adding US cover alone sometimes double the price. So when someone asks me how much these policies will cost at the very beginning of our conversation, for me it's like asking how much the new car cost. What car? Are we talking about Renault Zoe or we're talking about Rolls-Royce Phantom? So the answer can be from £1,000 a year to £150,000 a year. But on a serious note, if we're talking about a student age, you know, 18 to 24, the price for a decent policy will be in the region of about £1,500 to £3,000 a year. Mid-30s, be prepared to pay between £3,000 to £5,000 a year. When you hit 45, the price goes up to about 4 to 7. Somebody in their 50s will pay around 7 to 9. Mid-60s will be paying 12 to 16,000 pounds per year. But, you know, as mentioned, it's all down to what you actually need. I've sold policies that cost 150 grand a year for an elderly couple, and I've sold policies that costed 650 pounds a year for a student. So giving an average here is almost impossible because there are too many variables in the formula. Right, now let's move to the underwriting. This is where a lot of disappointment happens if you don't plan properly. If you had symptoms before buying a policy, that's a pre-existing condition from the insurer's point of view. There are different approaches here. You've got your full medical underwriting with named exclusions or loadings, and you've got moratorium with time-based rules and occasional medical evidence review for reconsideration after a stable period. The honest answer is this: be prepared that the policy will only cover the conditions that occurred after you have taken the cover. So if you already have a War and Peace medical history with a hell of a lot in a pipeline, I don't want to give you false promises and say that take this policy, it will cover all of these conditions. No. But I also want to say that IPMI insurers sometimes have a much softer approach to certain conditions compared to the domestic policies. So it's still worth having a chat about it with a decent broker. Now, let me give you a real world scenario. Let's say you're on a work trip. Late dinner, bad luck, severe abdominal pain, you're admitted to the private hospital for one night, MRI, blood test and x-ray. Turns out the issue was related to a bad oyster you had on that dinner, and it was severe poisoning that was resolved with a few IV drips. Total bill, £7,000. With IPMI set up correctly, you don't even need to panic and decide whether you should do that x-ray for £500 or should you wait for your flight home and start begging your NHS GP for a referral on the day you land. If doctors said that you need one, then this policy will most likely cover it. This is what you're paying for. And, you know, considering that the policy costed you, let's say, 5 grand a year, one of these scenarios can easily override the cost of the whole policy straight away. And I'm not even talking about the scary stuff, you know, like heart surgeries or cancer treatments that can cost well over 100 grand. So if you're listening to this and thinking, yeah, that sounds like my life, you know, airport, 2 SIM cards, kids in international school, homes by the sea, or you're just fed up of bureaucracy on your domestic policy, then, you know, you're exactly who IPMI was built for. The right plan turns health issues from crisis into the process. I will leave the link for our website in the notes section. We are not a jack of all trades, and the only thing that we do day in, day out is IPMI, so if you need an expert on your side, we might be a good option to consider. Have fun and see you on the next one.